My dear friends, we're here again for day number 5, Introduction to Wine 5. Remember Wine in 7 Days? This is an introduction to wine. And we're going to talk today about the principles of tasting, the cata, what is called the cata of wine. So, we already know how to read a note on the bottle. We already know what we're going to use as a dispenser, as a cup, as a wine glass. And we also know how we have to take it. Then we have to acquire experience in feeling the wine. And feeling the wine means tasting with all the senses we can the wine. So we're going to talk about the principles of tastings. First, there are different phases. First phase is the visual phase. You have to choose, of course, a good, what we call cup, a wine glass. Always hold it by the stem to prevent the wine from warming up. We have already seen that when we talked about the temperatures of the wine, all depending on what kind of wine are we going to drink. Already we did that in the previous days. During the visual phase, we can observe the color and its shades, whether the wine is bright or matte, its transparency or maybe a brownish color at the sides. All that is going to give us information. For that, we have to put the wine glass, the cap, like this, and we have to have a white paper or a white or anything white, because if we put some other color, we're not going to be able to see this. We can see from up the coat. We see the color, we see this color at the sides, and if we have in the underneath over here another color different than white, this is going to change our perception. So we need to put it on a white paper or anything white. Then we go to the olfactory phase, to the smell. We have to smell. Smell the wine while it's still, and we can perceive some of these smells that they are called aromas in the case of the fruit smells. Then we have to swirl the glass, creating a kind of whirlpool in the liquid to appreciate through our sense of smell the other sensations that emerge. You see, like this lady is doing here. And then we have to move it in always to create this whirlpool. And then once again we go and smell it, because the vapors are going to come out of here. There are 3 levels to appreciate. The primary, that they come from the grape variety. These are called aromas. Scent also, maybe in English, scent. Secondary, they are due to fermentation process. If you feel that it smells like bread in the oven, that's a secondary smell that comes from the fermentation process. And the tertiary, that they are because of the aging period, especially from wood, especially from oak. So these are called bouquet. So scent or aromas come from the fruit, and bouquet come from the wood. In the mouth, we're going to feel different things. We have to take a small sip and let it pass through your mouth. Then you are going to inhale through your mouth and exhale through your nose. This is the retronasal air or retronasal way. And this we're going to feel different things, and you're going to be able to detect these different things. So you have to practice these things. The first impression you have to evaluate, and the aftertaste you have to evaluate. And if you want to write it down in a notebook, that's all right, because sometimes you can forget. When once again you go and search for the same wine, you know more or less what can be expected. But remember, there are no two bottles, they are never the same. Never the same. The wine's persistence in mouth, and we're going to talk also later, is the time that on the upper respiratory tract remains the smell. When you talk about the low persistence, from 0 to 3 seconds. Medium persistence, between 3 and 6. More than 6, we're going to talk about a high persistence. The higher the persistence is, the better the wine is, usually. This is one of the things to keep in mind. So here is the same thing I said. So here is the olfactory region. Here is the way you breathe in the blue arrows. And here is when you have it in your mouth, you inhale air and you exhale. The olfactory region is going to get this information that comes from the retronasal way that completes the information previously felt. The tasting can summarize as follows. Inspection, color, brightness, legs. Nose, first and second sense. What do the smells evoke? Taste, take a reasonable sip, aerate the wine, and touch. How are you going to touch the wine? You are not going to touch it with your fingers, of course. Usually we touch with fingers. In this case, we're going to touch with your mouth. You're going to feel the body, the astringency. We've talked about this in previous days. Well, it's a low body, a medium body, and a complete body. What is astringence due, and why we have to choose one wine from another? We have to, in the mouth, we have to touch the temperature. You know there are different temperatures. We have already always talked about that. If bubbles, etc. We're going to feel, you're going to touch the wine in your mouth. Terms frequently used in tastings. In the visual phase, it's the appearance. It appears to be like this or like that, the wine. So we talk about the color intensity. High is because it's darker, or low is because it's transparent. When you said this wine is, it says a high color intensity, it means it's a darker one. Clear, bright, we're going to talk about the particles that can be inside. This is indicative of good winemaking. The vintage, of course, you have it in the bottle, usually. Usually you have it in the bottle, but even if you won't have it, once you have your taste and your smells developed, you're going to be able to say this is a newborn wine or this is a very aged wine. You're going to feel it. In all these aspects, you are going to feel it, and you're going to be able to say this is a very young wine or this is a very aged wine. So we talked about the scent, the primary. The primary olfactories are the grapes. So we talk that like aroma and or scent in English. Then we talk about the intensity, the strength which the aromas are perceived. Example, I feel a strawberry aroma. And you can feel that there's something of strawberry in the smell. But if I said I feel a high intensity strawberry feel or aroma or scent, this is the intensity. So the intensity has also have to be described also. if it is fruity or not, because of the fruit. And then you have to say what kinds of fruits, red, black, citrus. You define the wine if it is fruity or not. And balsamic, if there are reminiscent smells of resins, mint, or pine. Sometimes, when we say that they are come from the barrels, we're talking about bouquet. I've always said several times. So we arrive to the body and tannins. The body is a sensation of fullness or weight. We have always talked about it. So when you describe the wine, this is a very light body, or medium body, or full body, or very simple, almost nothing of body. And the tannins, they are substances that provide dryness and structure, especially in red wines. Also in orange wines. Remember, we've been always also talking about orange wines. They can be silky, rough, or firm. There are the three times the kinds that tannins can be: silky, rough, or firm. Finally, we talk acidity is a sensation of freshness. You feel a freshness, that you call it acidity. Essential for the wine's longevity. Usually, young wines have no acidity, and that's why they don't get better with time. Not all the wines get better with time, not all of them. If there's no sugar, no residual sugar, you talk about there is dry. Then they can be semi-sec, they can be sweet wines. Velvety is a smooth and elegant texture on the palate, usually due to the barrel work, the aging of wines. And we get to the concepts we have already talked at the beginning of this trip, this 7-day trip. We talk about the terroir. Remember that terroir doesn't mean the field, it means the ecosystem. Ecosystem is terroir, the influence of soil, climate, environment on the flavor of wine. And finally, aging, wine that has spent time aging in oak barrels. Balance, and this is very important, what we call balance is harmony between these four factors. I always said they are the four legs of a table. These are acidity, tannins, alcohol, and fruit. If we get the balance in these two legs of the table, we have a very good table. And finally, we talk again about the persistence, the times that the smells or the feelings of the wine remain in your mouth. This time can be, as I said before, from 0 to 3 seconds low, to 3 to 6 seconds medium. More than 6 is perfect. The longer it is, the better the wine is. So remember all these factors and begin. As I say here, we're getting to know the world of wine now. Now we need to know him. We need to know the wine, not the world of wine. And to know in the wine, we have to drink the wine. We have to feel the wine. We have to taste the wine. And as this is a social drink, why not sharing all this knowledge with friends, especially with persons that can fall in love with wine and all its benefits. Not just drinking for the sake of drinking, but enjoying it with all the senses we can enjoy it, with all of them. Thank you for your time. Thank you for listening to me. This is a very simple way to see the wine tasting, but this is the one we're looking for. Remember, this is a beginner's world, and we don't want to be very profound in this. There's time to get on the deepness. From to this moment, this is the end. I wrote it in Spanish. Anyways, it's the end. Thank you. If you like it, give it a like. That stimulates me. And if you like it more, just subscribe in order that you can get information when I go on with the day 6 and 7. We're going to be talking about, and once again about terroir, once again about grapes. Thank you very much, and have a nice time, and enjoy your wine. Thank you.